we've discussed some of the most unrealistic scenes in the greatest franchise of all time, Fast and Furious.
Did you bring the cavalry?
Woman, I am the cavalry.
So naturally, it's time to talk about every time someone died and came back to life in the series.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes!
I'm pretty sure I got all the significant characters in the video, but if I missed one, let me know in the comments below. We're going to start with the most realistic back from the dead scene, and then gradually make our way down the list. It is Fast and Furious, and the family we're talking about though, so all of them are pretty well grounded and make a lot of sense as to how they are actually alive. Anyways, let's get into it. First up, we have Dominic Toretto sacrificing himself in Fast 7 by driving his Dodge off a collapsing ramp and then yeeting a grenade onto the bad guy's helicopter before the car lands front first on the concrete. And then, as he's about to pass away, Letty reminds him that family trumps all, even a head-first collision straight onto concrete, and then tells him she now remembers everything about their past. And in a shocking turn of events, he awakens. Some people speculate that it was Brian's use of CPR that saved Dom. Others say it was Letty telling him that she suddenly remembered everything, even their wedding, where Dom is in his trademark vintage white tank top.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I say, however, it was a combination of the latter, paired with his vibranium white long sleeve t-shirt that was practically unscathed, protecting Dominic Toretto from the impact. Obviously, Dom did not actually die in this scene like the others on this list. However, I think it's worth putting it on here strictly because it is the closest moment in the franchise where Dom was on the verge of dying before coming back to life. God bless Letty Ortiz for saving Dominic Toretto. Next up is Letty Ortiz getting axed by Baraga's goon in Fast and Furious, aka Fast 4, only to come back in Fast 6. Letty, according to Dominic Toretto's incredible investigation skills, gets T-boned, does about 20 barrel rolls, and then gets thrown in the air via the explosion of the car, prompting the entire plot of the rest of the movie. At the time, it appeared to be a certain death. Dom thinks she's dead, the bad guys think she's dead, even the writers think she's dead. However, with the power of family, anything is possible, especially if you're Dominic Toretto's lover. So naturally, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at the end of Fast 5 is like, oh, she's actually alive. The explosion only led to her losing all her memory. And then she comes back in Fast 6. This is absolutely incredible. Of course, she didn't actually die. This is Letty after all, one of the last remaining original members of the family. Praise be that Letty is immune to getting thrown 20 feet away by big explosions. Without Letty coming back to life, losing her memory, Dominic Toretto would probably have died in Fast 7. An extraordinary comeback from Letty. Talk about resilience. Now, just because you aren't in the family doesn't mean you can't also come back to life in another movie. The perfect example of this is Owen Shaw, the big bad from Fast 6, who gets absolutely yeeted out of a car inside the massive cargo plane that is taking off from the world's longest runway. The plane has naturally been picking up speed due to the amount of time it's taken for it to take off, so we can only assume it's going fairly fast. And from the looks of it, it seems to be at least 30 feet in the air when Owen gets sent out of the plane, making it extremely incredible that he is able to survive the fall. The only logical explanation I can think of is that Dominic Toretto strategically beat up Owen and then calculated exactly when to jump out of the car to allow Owen to survive the fall, so that naturally in the 8th movie, Owen would end up coming back to help save Dom's son, proving that even villains in Fast and Furious can somehow survive impossible feats and injuries.
Right.
The more you think about this next one, the less and less it makes sense. Of course, I'm talking about Han exploding in his car at the end of Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and then coming back in Fast 9. This one is tricky because originally, Han came back from the Tokyo Drift explosion in Fast 5 without any explanation at all, until we find out that he did actually die in Tokyo Drift, but by Jason Statham, at the end of Fast 6. Meaning Tokyo Drift actually takes place directly in between Fast 6 and Fast 7, which is crazy to think about in itself. Then we find out in Fast 9 that Han is actually alive and that Mr. Nobody secretly placed a hologram in the car and faked his death. The genius of Fast and Furious. This scene alone has 3 plot twists by itself. Some say Tokyo Drift is the inception of the Fast and Furious franchise.
You know what DK stands for? Donkey Kong.
Level 1, Han dies. Level 2, Han actually dies by Jason Statham. And level 3, Han doesn't die at all, but fakes his death instead. It is next level thinking by Vin Diesel and the writers of Fast and Furious, putting that many plot twists in the third movie, Tokyo Drift, only to unveil the last plot twist in Fast 9, 6 movies later. We're all playing checkers, and Vin Diesel and Fast and Furious are playing 3D chess. I think we all know what the last one is. It is none other than Gal Gadot, aka Gisele, sacrificing herself to save Han in Fast 6, and then coming back 4 movies later in Fast X. In hindsight, compared to the usual things the family survives, it is pretty realistic that she is alive. I mean, does a normal person die if they do what Gal Gadot does in this scene? Of course they do, but this is one of the family members we're talking about, so she obviously survived. Once Han came back in Fast 9, we all knew Gisele was going to make an appearance in Fast X at some point, but did I think it would be her busting through the Antarctic in a submarine at the end of the movie? No. But she is back, and that's all that matters. My prediction is that Gisele, after falling off the plane, gets saved by Mr. Nobody, who picks her up shortly after the fall, and then explains to her that she must stay presumed dead because there is something bigger and more important she needs to accomplish in order to save the family. Then he goes on to explain that Han is alive and well and also working for him on a separate mission equally as important, and that when the time is right, they will be together again. Absolute cinema. You cannot make this up. It's gonna happen. There you have it, guys. Every time someone died in the Fast and Furious franchise and then came back to life. Which one was the craziest to you? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel to join our family. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.
Thing about street fights, the street always wins.